Good morning, everyone. Hello, folks. It is so good to see all of you. I'm very happy to be here. Again, just as I said yesterday, my name is Voodoo Val, and I'm here to be your host for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I see so many familiar faces in chat. Hello, Valder, Pokehan, Sydney, Kushal, Eva, Tim. It's so good to see you. Real quick, right off the bat here, I would just like to kind of go over what exactly we're doing this morning and then jump into our challenge because we have got some pretty awesome stuff to cover today. If you guys visit behance.net/creative or /challenge/Photoshop, you will get all of the details that you need for the Daily Creative Challenge. And that page actually looks like this. If you head over there, you'll notice that scrolling down, our second challenge is available for you folks. I'm actually going to turn my headset down just a tad because I can hear so much music. All right. Our second challenge is available for you guys to get a little detailed description on. And I actually also have a downloadable asset for you folks. I have actually created a line art drawing for you that you guys can use to illustrate or color in or noodle with in any way you want. And today we're going to be doing something totally different yet totally similar to what we did yesterday, and that is we're going to be creating an asset that you guys will be able to choose from either what we did today or what we did yesterday for the focal point of our project tomorrow, which is going to be super cool. I'm very excited about it. But before you guys jump into that, make sure that you are in the Discord because we're going to want to see your entries for the day, and you're going to want to be able to share it with the community so people can see what you've been working on, as well as you're probably going to want to, communicate with our mentors, maybe ask some questions if you get a little stumped. And you can do that by hitting the community chat link here or by scrolling down to the bottom and hitting the Join Us button. And that will take you to the Discord here, where you can see there's also already somebody in here. This is Unkennel, has already taken the line art and sort of colored it in and started this illustration. This is awesome. Thank you, Unkennel, for already having this prepared. Very cool. But yeah, this is where we put all of our challenge entries so that they can be shown on stream and reviewed and checked out by the rest of the community. So let's hop to it. What do you guys say? I'm very excited. If you folks download the file, you will start out with this little thing here. I've got the liner, and I've also got some instructions where I just kind of lay out a basic idea of what you can do if you want. I say, like, under the line art layer, you can use the lasso tool to section out parts of the canvas and drop in shades of gray with the paint bucket tool, or color if you want to use color right off the bat. I use brush tools to kind of add a little bit of detail over the top of what I paint bucket in, and then I use blending modes to sort of color my painting. But if you are not an illustrator, and you're kind of looking at this like, whoa, what do I do? I have also got an alternative method that you can use to take this liner and still create a pretty cool illustration with it. And that is what we're going to do real quick right now. So underneath my sketch, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call this layer gray. And I'm going to use my lasso tool. If you use a different kind of tool to section off parts of the canvas, that's totally fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly come in here and I am going to select this as best I can. And I'm going to try and do this pretty fast because I don't want to spend too much time, since I'm also going to show you some other methods of turning this into an illustration this morning. But I kind of select everything, and then, like I said, I grab my paint bucket tool, which is on your left-hand side, right up here. Boop. I'm going to hit my paint bucket tool, and I am going to come over to my colors here, and I'm going to grab a gray color, and I'm just going to drop that in, just like that, kind of section her out like that. And then on another layer, which I'm going to call face, and I'm doing, by the way, Control-Shift-In for new layer, Command-Shift-In if you're on a Mac. And I am going to hit L for my lasso tool, and I'm also going to section off her face so that it's a little separate from the rest of the painting. I'm going to get her neck in there like so. Boom, boom. I'm even going to get like parts of her hair that I've sketched in there, just like that. And then I'm also going to paint bucket a lighter color in here. And I'm gonna do that like this. Grab my paint bucket tool right up there. Again, I'm gonna grab a light color and I'm gonna go like that. So now I have two different pieces on two different layers that are the cloak of our character and the face and hair of our character. And just like we did yesterday, I'm actually going to use a clipping mask to add in a cool texture instead of painting, because maybe you don't have a stylus, maybe you can't illustrate. And I'm going to do that like this. I'm going to drag this cool watercolor texture right here onto my canvas. You can choose whatever kind of textures you want. And I am going to spread that out like that to encompass our whole canvas. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to make sure that this watercolor is above just our gray layer because I don't want it to affect the face. And I'm going to right click that and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to hit create clipping mask. And then you can either turn the opacity down on this just to give it a little texture, or you can find a blending mode that you prefer. But that just gives like some cool texture to the cloak, to her outfit. And I'm going to do the same thing above the face layer. I'm going to grab this watercolor texture here that's a little more like a skin tone. I'm going to make that a little larger, just like so. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to right click that watercolor layer. I'm going to scroll down to create clipping mask and boom. And you can sort of experiment with this. You can grab a whole bunch of different textures and add all kinds of cool stuff in there. You can even use stamp brushes underneath the line art and create some cool textures and everything under there. But if you are an illustrator like me, if you're somebody who likes to draw, or you're somebody who likes to paint, I'm also going to show you how I like to paint up my paintings and characters. So quickly what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide these watercolor layers, and I am actually going to select all the layers underneath my sketch by clicking that watercolor layer, holding shift, and then clicking that gray, which allows me to select all of my layers at once. And I'm going to go Control G to group them together, or Command G if you're on a Mac. And I'm going to make a new layer with Control Shift in, and I'm going to call this, let's call it Underpaint. Let's do that. And I'm going to snag a brush, which if I click the button on my stylus while my brush tool is selected, so if I just hit B and then I click the button on my stylus, it opens my brush palette. If you don't have a stylus, then you can find it right up here at the top. You can just click that drop down menu and it'll pull all of them up. But I'm going to click open my brushes, and I'm going to grab a brush that I like, and I'm going to zoom in here, and what I do is I start adding values in where I think there would be shadow. And this is a really good thing to keep in mind, even if you're just somebody who touches up photos, is to keep in mind where your light source is coming from and know where to put shadows and where to put highlights. So we're going to say that this is just a top-down lighting situation. So all the shadows are going to be under all of the crevices of the face. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put shadow underneath her brow there. I'm going to put shadow underneath the lower lid right here, like so. I'm going to put shadow underneath her hair here. I'm going to also make my brush larger. You can make your brush larger or smaller by pressing the left and right bracket keys for a little hotkey tip there. And I'm going to keep putting all of this shadow any place I think that would have less light on the face. And I'm going to come around here to her cheeks. I'm going to add it there, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. I'm going to make her neck a little bit darker than the rest of her face, because while it is the same material, it's a little farther back and secluded back there in that darkness, so I'm going to do that. And I'm even going to make some of the hair back there by her face a little dark. I'm going to make some dark here around the edges of the hair, and I'm also going to put some darkness under the nose, like so. I'm going to darken this top lip because if the light is shining down on her, then the top lip is going to be darker than the bottom lip. I'm going to even put like some darkness in the corner of the mouth like that. I'm going to hit E for eraser and make it a little smaller with my brackets. And I'm going to kind of carve this shape out just a little bit. And then I'm going to hit B again. I'm going to come back to my brush and I'm going to put some shadow right there under the lip just to give it a little bit of depth. So that's how I would shade. You can even come in here and with a larger brush and start shading the clothes. If you so choose, you can add some shading here to the jacket. You can even add some down here in the cloak. However you choose to do things, it's up to you. But basically, we're just going to play around, and I encourage all of you to kind of like express yourselves. How is this character going to be decorated? Of course, I'm sure you guys are not surprised that I supplied you with a bit of line art that I drew that slightly resembles a Sith or Jedi. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide whether you make her a Jedi or you make her cool. So she can be dark side or light side, whatever you guys want to do. Or you guys can alter the line art in any way you see fit and create an entirely new character, whatever you folks want to do. But that is, I think that's going to be it for the shadows and values that way, since we don't have as much time today as I would love to pour into this. And so I'm going to actually make another layer. I'm going to make a layer with Control-Shift-N again, and I'm going to call this Highlight. And I'm going to come in with a lighter color. I'm going to sample. If you hold Alt, you can actually sample immediately with a dropper tool. I'm going to sample the background, and then I'm going to get a color just slightly brighter than that background. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to place highlights. And I'm going to say there's probably a highlight on her nose. If you hold Shift, you can actually draw a straight line left or right, or up or down or left or right, by the way. So if I hold Shift, I can do like a straight line up the bridge of her nose. I'm going to put a little bit of highlight here on like the Cupid's bow of her lip. I'm going to put a little bit of highlight there on her lip just to kind of make it look a little more 3D. I'm going to make my brush larger and kind of encompass this chin here, add a little bit of value there. And I'm even going to come in here. I'm going to turn the opacity down on my brush by pressing the 4 button. You might not know this, but for your brush and your eraser, if you hit one of the numbers on the number pad of your keyboard, it will actually increase or decrease the opacity by 10%. Or in increments of 10%. So if I hit 4, like I just did, it actually decreased the opacity down to 40. And if I hit 0, like I'm going to hit now, it's increased it back up to 100%. So yeah, this is basically how I like to illustrate, how I like to get started. I come in, I put the values in, you know, I get everything going like that. I could even put some highlights in up here on top of her cloak, her Sith robes, guys, because she's cool. Kind of dropping in some highlights like so. It's a little messier than I would prefer, but like I said, we've got just 30 minutes for our segment today. So I'm trying to just get the point across to you guys so that you can get started if this is the route that you want to take for this challenge. And then we are also going to add some color. I'm going to show you how I color something. And this is also, again, something else that you folks can use, a technique that you can use, even if you are not an illustrator or a painter, even if you are somebody who just really likes to touch up photos, and you'll probably never use the stylus or use the brush tools in the same way that I do. And that is, I'm going to use blending modes in order to color this. Val using, yes, I am using a Wacom tablet. You could try this with a mouse. You could even try it with a trackpad. I'd be curious to see like how that pans out for you, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to go above our sketch layer here, and I'm going to do Control-Shift-N again. I'm going to hit, let's call this color 1, and I'm going to hit Enter. And over here on my color palette, I'm going to select kind of a, let's do like kind of a burnt orange color. Why not? I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit my little paint bucket tool, and I'm going to drop a color over the whole canvas like that. Boom. Very dramatic, I know, but don't worry. We're going to use blend modes. I'm going to come over here above my layers panel, and I'm going to click this normal here, and I'm going to hover over these and kind of go through until I find a blending mode that I really like. And I actually am pretty taken with this, this soft light here. So we'll go with soft light. And then I'm going to do another Control Shift in new layer, and I'm going to call this color 2. And I'm going to come in here with my brush. You can use the lasso tool like we did before with the grayscale if you prefer. You can do this any way you want. This is just a guideline for how this can be done. No need to follow my instructions to a T. And I'm going to select a color with a little more red in it. Probably like that. I'm gonna choose a soft round brush, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna add color to the face, like so. And remember, the way the face is broken up, where colors are concerned, with the way that you would add color to a face, is typically the human face has red or pinks, you know, dark oranges and such around the mouth, nose, eyes, and cheeks. And then typically you will find more yellow tones towards the forehead because the bone is very close to the skin. And then you will find blue colors around the jaw, particularly among men, because men grow a lot of facial hair. So that it's that, you know, that color, that blue color of hair follicles under the skin. So yeah, I think we'll leave it here on the soft light, and I'll even on a lower opacity, I will even kind of add some color to her cheeks here. And then if you want, you can actually start just painting in color. That's what I would do at this point. Is I would, instead of using blending modes, I'd make another layer, and I would grab my brush, and I would just start going in and chipping away at it. With just sampling colors, just holding Alt and bringing, kind of blending those colors in until I have a pretty good understanding or pretty good base character painting. And just I'm totally gonna Martha Stewart you guys here, because since we are limited on time, I wanted to make sure that I painted this up and really showed you the possibilities where applying these techniques are concerned. I actually did at a later time or a previous time, I did sort of add like some crazy details, like go really in depth. This is the same exact line art, the same line art you have. And I went in and I added some colors. I went in and I did my blending modes, and then I started painting in color, and I separated her hair. You know, I added some shadows around. I got that hard shadow there to show that that hood is coming over her head. You know, I got those highlights in her face to show that the light is hitting right there, down and kind of forward on her face. You know, there's some highlights on her robe. Clearly she is a Sith Lord. But you guys can make Jedis if you want. Or, as I said, you guys can do any other type of character that you want. You can even use your own line art. You don't even have to use the line art that I provided for you guys. If you're illustrators or you have some other kind of line art that you found someplace else, feel free to use that as well. This is just a guideline and a base to help you get started and kind of show you the possibilities for this type of project. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm actually gonna save out this one that is a little larger. I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna upload this to Behance real quick, because I want to put this in my my Behance project for my daily creative challenge. So I'm gonna save this, and then I'm actually going to pull up Behance right quick. Let me find my browser. Boom. So you head over to Behance. You want to click into your profile, and again, as we did yesterday, you want to hover over that gear in the corner and hit edit. And then we are going to scroll down. If you've set yours up like mine, then all you have to do is name the challenge. I'm going to say illustration. And then right here, I am going to, I guess I don't need to type anything just yet. We'll actually add, let's just upload the image for right now. I'm gonna bump this up. And I am going to navigate to my painting. There we go. And let it upload, if it will upload. There we go. And I'm gonna bump it in, and it's gonna load, and she'll be up there. And while she's loading, I'm actually going to type a little spiel here. I'm gonna say, if I can get it to do it, there we go. I'm gonna say, here is my illustration for the second challenge. And of course I'll come back and make this a little bit more in depth, but I definitely want to have something here between now and when I come back. And as soon as this is done uploading, I'll hit save and then it will be available. In the meantime, we can head over to Discord because we also definitely want to share it in the Discord for everyone to check out, and also so it can be showed on stream. And I'm gonna do that by, let me do some voodoo dancing magic here so I'm not blocking your guys' view. I'm gonna hit this plus button here, and I'm gonna navigate. It is opened my little folder here. I'm gonna navigate to my file, and I'm gonna hit open, and it's gonna load for me there. And I'm gonna say, here is my entry. There we go. Let me fix my spelling here. I'm gonna say boom, and I'm gonna upload, and then it'll be there for everyone to see. So yeah, that's how I illustrate, and that's also how you can use textures and cool stuff to sort of spice up a line drawing. Again, you don't even have to use the line art that I provided for you. If you are an illustrator, you can illustrate your own thing, but remember, we're going to choose tomorrow between what we made today and what we made yesterday as the focal point of a really cool poster. I'm not going to tell you the theme of the poster. You guys will have to tune in for those details. But we're going to kind of revisit these assets. So if you choose to use your own illustration, try to pick a creature or character maybe. Or if you'd like to, or you think you're going to use what we did yesterday, make sure you have some kind of focal point of that nature, and then we'll jump into it again tomorrow. Photoshop is identical platforms outside of keyboard shortcuts. Yes, aside from there are slight differences like the command and control for PC and Mac. But yeah, thank you guys very much for joining me. I'm real quick going to show you the schedule. The first segment of the day obviously was me with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. The wonderful and magnificent Sam Peterson is up next with drawing and painting. You guys are gonna love it. Then we have the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Melody right after that, and John Sorrentino is going to be up at the end of the day with UX design. It's going to be super great. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I cannot wait to see what you guys do for your challenges, and I will catch you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everyone.